All right, imagine you say yes to an opportunity of adventure. The opportunity to create an innovative and visually expressive presentation that addresses something profoundly human. From your extensive experience that will appeal to the masses. You have the idea, you have a conviction, and you have the perfect outfit, and then you have a great title from which will peg every known search engine in the online universe, and then this happens. Total creative darkness, artist block, a black hole that ingests all of your creative energy. It ingests your idea. You lose your conviction. You feel like a hypocrite. And there you sit with your title and a semicolon in the dark, naked. That's your neighbor's imagination. You are stripped of creative energy and all alone, and all is silent, and then this happens. And there you see it. The glimmer of an idea. A place to begin, a spark that lights from where you will now start onto a new adventure and something very exciting. You question your purpose and you find it. Your purpose provides focus and your conviction returns, and you find yourself empowered, committed, and your plans are exciting and you feel enlightened and ready for the magic. And so here we are in this theater together, sitting here, in this darkened theater where I found who I was and where my confidence really began, the birthplace of my confidence. In a theater much like this, just across the canyon. And it is in the theater where my belief began in what I have to share with you today, where it developed, grew into something amazing, and ultimately what I've taught for the last 13 years. My conviction is that an empowered sense of self-worth and creativity comes from working within your perceived constraints, committing to the journey of creation, and recognizing the connections between your efforts, the sparks of personal genius, and the resulting magic. For me, that spark of doubt lit up a memory, one particular creative experience in my past 4 decades. And that spark was with my grandmother, Miss Ella Mae Mai. She sat me down at her dining table, and together we created a shadow box, much like this one. A shoe box in which we took off the lid, and we cut magazines and newspaper articles and scenes, pictures, whatever we could find, and we layered them in the box so that it created a 3-dimensional effect as you looked into the viewfinder that you cut out of one end. And these scenes were things that we found fascinating. And I learned to assemble multiple objects and influences from my life to create something new and innovative and fun. But we needed light to see them. And so we would cut out holes in the top and in the back, and we would cover those with paper so that it filtered the light as it came through and illuminated what it was we were trying to see. And that box looked like something like this. And inside of us, there are years of events, years of personality developing moments, habits, the way we think, the way we interpret life, the way we see our lives happen, both the negative and the positive. There are our memories, our fears, and our values, including our innate talents and abilities, sometimes the hidden ones, or sometimes it's just our passion to one day hold those talents. The experiences and influences form this rich cavern in which we can pull from to make our lives rich and exciting, to give us strength and encouragement in those times when that creative journey becomes really challenging. But if we don't shed the light on those moments, we cannot make those connections, we cannot see the value of those. And we remain shadowed, if you will, in the darkness of ignorance, neglect, and our perceptions of those things as constraints. And our constraints, we often look at them as our limitations, restrictions. We are lesser than the Joneses, so to speak. In a world where we live in a world that paralyzes us with comparison, right? We cripple our confidence and we cripple our initiative. And what I see as a result are two things, and this may be just my projection, but this is what I see. The first one being, we degrade ourselves before anybody else can. We step back out of our creative adventures and we stop the creative process because we're afraid of the pain of the needed effort and energy it takes to get through that. The second one is that we minimalize others' accomplishments and we drag everyone else down through mockery, degradation, and marginalization. And we waste so much time and energy in creating these identities who we are fundamentally not. And what we need to do, what we should do, is recognize, refine, and celebrate what our true unique value is, the source of real genius and the birthplace of confidence. And so I take this practice from commedia and improvisation, and it is the practice that we employ in my classroom, and that is always say yes. It's the power of yes. We say yes to constraints. We say yes to illuminating our shadows. We say yes to celebrating the uniqueness of others. The autistic student in his senior year who takes the lead role in 2 plays. We say yes to the creative ideas of others as well as ours, of the students who propose designs for our productions. And even though in my personal view the design is scary, I have to trust what they see is real. And when in the end it happens, it's amazing. We say yes to uncertainty. We say yes to the possibility of failure. We say yes to disappointment, hurt, joy, love, and we say yes to our dreams. Tess said yes just a few days ago as she took on her first dance audition in New York City. Shortly after killing the music audition and requesting the thoughts and supports of her Facebook fans online, Tess jumped in feet first. And I quote, "I knew I would make a fool of myself to some degree, but I also know I wouldn't be the worst dancer in the room. I was wrong. The combinations were taught so quickly and contained such advanced material that I found myself missing every other step. It was by far the most embarrassing day of my life. I thought I would be one of the average girls in the room, but I never thought I would be the worst. My confidence was shattered. I left the audition, kept my chin up, and got on the train for a 45-minute ride home. I checked my Facebook and found comments like, 'You got this, you're going to kill it, you are destined for greatness, and you were made for this.' I wept on the train. People stared. I was broken, but not for long. I have a new fire burning in me. I know what I need to do now. I will take lessons, I will get better, and I will do everything I need to do to find myself in that dance call again and to no longer be the worst in the room. I'll be average, and that will be an incredibly proud day." So we say yes to committing our dreams once again. We say yes to believing others when they see our value and the amazingness in us. And we say yes to loving who we are. And so I turn to the person who exemplifies love in my life. She's the measure of someone who loves without reservation, and that is my daughter, Harriet. So Harriet had a conversation with her mother recently, and it began something like this, which it does often. "Mom, I love you." Mom says, "I love you too. Are you going to take care of me when I get old?" Harriet says, "Yes, I will." And Mom says, "Well, what if you marry a man who doesn't want to take care of me?" And Harriet says, "Well, then I know he's not the perfect man, and I will leave him and live with you and take care of you and stay with you forever." Mom says, "I won't live forever." And Harriet says, "When you die, I will stab myself because I can't live without you." And this is the definition of commitment, right? When I started my undergraduate journey, a professor gave me a piece of paper, and on this piece of paper was a quote. And I read through this quote, and I liked it. I thought it was great, and I kept that, and I still have it, I think. I've lost it. But I've memorized this quote, and this quote means so much to me because it is about this very subject, this commitment, the power of design. And this quote was created by a man named Goethe. Some of you may have heard of him. A very famous German playwright and theatrical genius and director. And this quote I pledged my career and my life to. And it begins every semester as I talk to my students and say, it is about the power of commitment. Commit, commit. And Goethe, of course, commits. And this quote came from this masterful play called Faust. And as I began researching for this talk, I started to notice some inconsistencies with this quote. And perhaps this quote came from someone else. And I thought, no, how could that possibly be? This is 13 years of commitment. Now on the floor, puddled at my feet. And I find out that John Anster actually translated Goethe's Faust in 1835, and loosely so. And those loose two couplets were quoted by another man named W.H. Murray. And this is who created this quote. And how could this be? How could this be that my allegiance to this quote is from a Himalayan hiker from Scotland? Not a theatrical genius, not a playwright, but a man who climbs mountains for fun. And at first, with my talk on the floor in the dark, if you remember that moment, I thought, oh no, how can I talk about this? How can I talk about commitment? And then I realized maybe this is a profound moment. Maybe this is the moment I need, where this thought, this idea of commitment is universal. On top of a mountain, as well as in the classroom and on the theater stage. And the quote goes something like this: until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to aid one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, which no man would have ever dreamed come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. In any endeavor along the path, the truth is the same. It doesn't matter where we are headed or what our journey is. Commitment connects us to the spiritual experience of creativity and confidence, as well as the magic of the universe. Vision, for me, is the design commitment. Every costume sketch, every scene design, every play season, cast list, they're all spiritual designs to guide the universe in aiding our creativity. When I was in Boise, I got to choreograph a piece for Balance Dance Company for the first night celebration in 2000. And I got to choreograph this piece as well as design the costumes. And one such costume was a young girl would wear a dragon mask on her head. And I needed to create a costume that matched that mask. And so I drew this robe, green robe with green splotches on it, just thinking, this is the ideal. I set out to the fabric store 2 weeks later, and there in a bin in the aisle was a roll of green fabric with little splotches that were velvet peacocks. That's the universe and the magic. The magic continues with Ashlyn. Ashlyn is now in Tokyo working for Disney, playing the role of various little pixie characters. She writes something to this: after making a decision to pursue a practical degree at a university, an invasion by a burglar in my home, a fraudulent work experience, a failing semester, a breakup, and a mental breakdown, she realized that she needed to change her plans. And so within a 24-hour period, in her moment of doubt, she made a decision and committed once more to her dream of pursuing a career in performance. She says, in September of 2015, I decided to go back to school and finish out strong as a music theater major. Through this decision, and though it was a huge leap of faith, it has changed my life forever. As soon as I decided to be true to my heart and my passions, the universe shifted for me. The universe wants to help us on our path, but if we don't know what we want, it can't take us there. When you commit to your truths and the path that you need to take in your life, there is so much goodness in the world waiting for you. As soon as we make a concrete decision to embark on the journey we've longed for our whole lives, the magic of the universe becomes addicting to ever look back. Take Michelle. Michelle was a Romanian refugee, at the age of 9 that came to Twin Falls. Due to cultural stress and probably a lack of nutritional information or focus, Michelle shot up 60 pounds. Quote, "I didn't really understand why. I only remember being outside at recess and looking at all the girls' knees and noting that they did not look like mine." By the 6th grade, Michelle weighed 250 pounds. She bought men's clothes, and particularly so they would fit better, but she found a vest, and that vest became her safety blanket where she buried herself in. In 9th grade, she joined drama class, and she was cast in the role of a witch, and she was so excited because of this. "I was so excited to get on stage and wear a costume without my vest." Michelle's focus changed that year, and 6 classes later, she holds the record. With me, she wanted to go to fashion school. So now weighing 326 pounds, Michelle moved to Los Angeles with a $600 in her pocket and a dream. She would call, and we would talk every once in a while, and one night in particular, she was on the bus at 1 in the morning trying to get home, which was miles away from campus, and she was fighting to keep that dream alive. All the girls at school have so much money and great clothes. They are so beautiful, and here I am trying to get by. Michelle studied and struggled for the next 2 years to finish fashion school, scraping tuition, living off $20 a week, and buying her groceries at the dollar store. I finally graduated school, and in the end, I was so mentally and physically drained, all I could think about was leaving LA. I needed to become strong and find my way again. That moment began November 1st, 2010. She says, "I woke up. I was done. That was when I took control of my life. I was done feeling small. I was done being looked down to, and I was done not being the best me and inspiring." That one moment and her infectious personality and her absolute determination to stay committed to her vision led her to 5 years of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, enough that she could fill her own TED Talk. A job with the benefits of a lifetime, and a total loss of 180 pounds. It was not an easy battle, as Dakota also adds. You gain of all what comes with commitment, including the vast storm of invisible weight that crushes your very soul. The weight of depression, of doubt, of self-loathing can cause even the hardiest of us to collapse. The crown jewel of commitment is that we never stop, we are committed, and the word itself is as glorious as a fine booty. I have pressed onward even when no one else had cared about me or what I did. I had to push doubt aside and continue my work. Eventually, I found the small calm in my life that makes it all worthwhile. The small token is enough to make me continue ever onward to commit. Ebb and flow is the name of the game in commitment, the good, the bad. But what holds you to that course is your connection. You see where the provincial aid comes. You make that connection. You tie to the past and the present, and you revel in that. You place your gratitude where it needs to be, and you speak it. And you connect you and what you know together, and you own it because it is you. Kenna documents this. Early in childhood, my family struggled with bankruptcy, job stability, obesity, cancer treatments, and the death of my mother. Although there was much love in my home, the stress had been deeply affected by my adolescent confidence and feelings of self-worth, especially in the turbulent seas of changing schools and the general terror of being a teenager. However, a quiet, despondent, and depressed girl found her way into the welcoming arms of her drama family during the spring of her freshman year. Kenna did not speak to most people around her. She rarely said any words until the second semester. Although I was overweight and shy, I overcame a confidence barrier with acting and began cherishing my voice as my own and my person as someone to truly be worthwhile. That led me to pursue further college education and then to also lead my fellow sailors in the United States Navy, with the hopes to one day become a Navy pilot. It's really quite a thing when a girl, quiet as a frozen fly, can grow into a full-blown cadence caller during the marching drills. All with some patience, kindness, and love found in our drama classroom and a rather bohemian family of thespians. The message is really quite simple and perhaps a little bohemian, but it's true. Embolden your creativity. Celebrate and enrich the constraints or the uniqueness that is your own. Commit to the plans you have always dreamed and wanted to pursue, and see the magic in your lives. And then create and the committed genius of those around you. So whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness is genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. Thank you.